So what I really enjoyed about the Indy one is it has been a smooth scooter from the start. It feels even smoother now. So if I remember correctly, the Ather 450S, Rizta S are to me the smoothest electrics we've
So
tested.
smooth, you mean in terms of how the power is delivered, how the motor works?
Actual smoothness.
Okay.
How quiet it is. Like
Okay.
the Rivers never made much of a noise.
Right.
The Athers, for example, has that motor whine.
Yeah.
Rivers never had that. Still doesn't. The only noise, if you remember, was when the regen mode was on, it would
Correct.
sound like a tire skidding very, very far away. I didn't even hear that this time. So it's utterly silent like a TVS iQube usually is.
Okay.
But there is a smoothness to when you open the throttle, which I don't remember being this level of finessed the last time around. Part of it could be the fact that it has a push drive now. It has a chain drive now. And I asked reversing, why did you go to a chain drive? It seems backwards to go to electrics, going back to chain. He's like, yes, we tried the belt. One, the total cost of ownership because of a belt goes up because belts are expensive. Belts in the monsoons were having issues with muck getting in and debris getting in. It would damage belts. It would damage the pulleys on which the belts run, etc. So they found a substantial reduction in the total cost of ownership just by going to chain. And I think this number is some crazy 70% cheaper than the belt equivalent. I'm assuming pulleys and belt versus sprockets and chain, one. So now there's a single speed gearbox that's running the chain back to a push drive.
But it's a closed unit, right?
It is a closed unit, but you can, if you look from the other side of the scooter, you can see the chain on the other side.
Get in even for the belt.
Yeah, so it suppose I have not checked this, but I'll put it up. But therefore, it must be a sealed chain because otherwise they wouldn't be able to leave it in the open. So they're not skimping and giving you an unsealed chain in a box which you can't see any more of. It does mean that chain maintenance becomes a thing, but because it is so well enclosed, electric user cycles being as long as they are, I'm assuming at every service you'll get this chain looked at and you'll more or less be okay. It won't be too much work. Belts would have been completely maintenance free. But it is saying between the gain in efficiency, belts are slightly less efficient than chains at transmitting torque. Between the lower cost of ownership, it just made sense to go to chain. And what I like about River is they're thinking about these things still. Most electric startups would reach a stable product, what they call the minimum viable product, and the minimum is as important as viable and product. Whereas River is willing to think beyond it, which is why suddenly the brake levers have changed. Why have the brake levers changed? What was wrong with the previous brake levers? They said, no, I think we could have improved the perceived quality of the product a little bit more, so we did it. And that is true for the chassis as well. If you remember, the old reverse front used to be quite harsh, and when you hit repetitive bumps, it would get quite nasty. Still does. But reverses, they're aware of the issue. They figured out the solution. They're in the process of deploying the solution. And about 6 to 8 months' time, reverse front ends will become much smoother. And what they've told me is it's not a suspension issue. It's a chassis reinforcement in a certain direction issue, which they are working on.
Okay.
So if you live in a place where there are no River dealerships yet, you're probably in a good place, because by the time these dealerships become very, very widespread, the scooter will also have improved another step further.
Is this a reason to not get one? Is it that bothersome?
No, I think there are so many good qualities about the scooter that I would be slightly annoyed by the front end, but it wouldn't say, okay, just don't buy it. Because if you're looking for discomfort on an electric as a thing, the 450s are still uncomfortable. It's 10 years later, they still haven't fixed the suspension. That suspension unit, more or less with a very, very minor tweak, goes into the Riztas, which improves things, but is the Rizta markedly super comfortable? It's not. The iQube is the only scooter that does that. If you're a fast rider in iQube, the motor, it works really well for you, but the suspension doesn't. It starts to bounce. They all have some amount of compromises. The way I solve this is, I use ultraviolet as an example to solve this. Great powertrain was built. It was so good that when it started to compromise other things like the chassis, ride quality, etc., ultraviolet said, it's okay, this compromise is workable. Which is why I struggle to qualify the F77 as a modern day sports bike equivalent. It approaches that idea with a really, really good powertrain, but does it execute the idea of a great sports bike? Not yet. In the same way, Rivers reached a solution that works. Is it a good solution? No, but what I like about them is they're very, very openly saying, yes, we're aware. Yes, we know this interrupts your flow, and yes, we are working on it, and there will be a solution soon. Unfortunately, it's not a software solution, so it's not easy to deploy.
And considering it's going to be a chassis tweak, means it's not retrofittable, so to speak, for
No,
existing.
shouldn't be. I don't know how they will solve it, but I don't think so.
I'm just approaching it from the standpoint that you have spoken very highly about the scooter. So
Yes.
let's say if somebody has a River dealership nearby, they'll be interested. And so therefore, is this a reason to not walk in right now and say, hey, I'll wait it out?
Well, you've got 11 dealers. It's not like many people are going to be able to walk in anyway yet. And by the time March happens, 120 dealers happen, this solution should also have been deployed before that.
But that's March 2026, huh? Right.
Right.
So by then it'll be fixed.
Yeah, by then it should be in.
Hi, it's me, Karthik, the one who's generally laughing and just going along with Shumi's jokes. You can catch all the jokes on the main channel. That's where they're all there. Right now, this is a bit of the serious conversation, but you can catch all the fun factor on the full video, which is on the MotorInc channel. So head out there and subscribe. And if you want more of these shorter clips, do subscribe to this channel as well.